Yo, so the Lil Boosie concert got shut down, man. They kicked everybody out. The dudes came. They said they said that for Duke 093, they had to shut everything down, man. So one thing y'all gotta understand is that everybody at the Boosie concert was told that they gotta leave. They crowded the hallway, and then next thing you know, they tried to get his chain, man. So look, the DJ wasn't having it. He tried to tell him to watch out before the whole thing started, man. And that's when they turned the lights off and Boosie dipped off backstage. Then they made an announcement saying everybody got to dip, man. Everybody got to leave in the hallway, and they're going to exit the building one by one, basically. And so, literally, the fact that the whole thing with Duke happened is the reason why a lot of people was trying to get Boosie's show to be stopped, man. So nothing like this happened again. So they try to grab Boosie's chain and ring. They tried to grab the microphone. They were fighting over the microphone, and his ring and bracelets almost slipped off. But basically, they tried to run up and get Boosie's chain, and that way they could get back at least something for Duke's chain being missing. They were trying to go chain for chain and everything, but it didn't turn out like they expected. Basically, everybody ended up getting kicked out, booted. Like, they're all in the street. Nobody got their money back for the show. They all spent. It was like $200 ticket and everything like that. And so the fact that the guys came and like literally snuck around Boosie's security and literally jumped up on stage, that's crazy because they were slipping. Like, they should have been on Boosie protecting even longer and everything like that, because they don't want nobody to just walk up. Like, you got to understand that at these backstages, everybody look like they somebody's entourage. So somebody ends up slipping through the cracks and like they got their chain and everything. They look like another rapper, so they're able to get through. And when you go backstage, nobody checks the people that are coming from backstage through that back door. They all think that they're part of the crew, they're part of the show, so they make it so that nobody gets checked. They don't check their little fanny packs that they be wearing nowadays. They don't check that, and so somebody could have pulled something in there. And you never know when if they take the chain and they put it in one of them fanny packs and run out, it will be never found again, man. Just like how Duke's Louis Vuitton bags was never found again, and that's where it had everything in it. Like, it had over $1 million in jewelry up in that Louis Vuitton case, and that's one thing that was missing out of his truck. When they went and searched his truck, they knew that it was something missing out of there. So the dudes try to go backstage and get Boosie's jewelry, just because of the fact that those one guys that came up and did that to Duke, they thought that it was something to do with Boosie, even though that they don't know whether Boosie did nothing or not. And so they're like, either way, we got to get something back because it's over $1 million that Duke and them lost. So they tried to go get Boosie's chains backstage, and I don't know why, but somebody let them in the back. Like, they really forgot they were looking at their phone, and somebody literally just turned the corner and went in the room. And he got access to the closet, and in the closet was where all the rollies and the baguettes, the Cuban link diamond chains were. And so they try to get the big 504, the big New Orleans chain, and so that's what made it to where. So the posse that Boosie came with, they were slipping too. Like, they were all off the Henny, they were all off the Douce and the Remy, so they didn't know that somebody had like literally got back behind and tried to get one of Boosie's rings, watches, and chains. Like, you guys got to understand that they were slipping. Like, the same reason why how Duke was slipping, these guys were slipping too. And somebody literally almost went and got Boosie's whole jewelry case out the dressing room closet when he was on stage. They would have never known that it happened. They literally wouldn't have known that Boosie's jewelry was missing until after he got off the stage and went into the dressing room to find out himself, man. Those guys, anyways, they're long gone, bro. They hopped back in, went back on the road, and they took off, bro. Because you got to understand that a lot of people is, like, upset and criticizing, calling out that Boosie did, like, he may have known this person, known that person, and you already know people was already talking about his cousin. They was talking about how it could have been a setup and a backdoor, since they basically made it so Duke had to park by himself and everything like that. So the dudes pulled up, and they already knew Boosie was in there because they seen his car in that parking lot in the VIP, and the security somehow had them slip through, and basically that's how the guy that jumped out went into this backstage, and then he ran the whole play, ran the whole mission, right, and found the chains in the closet and everything like that. And he ran back out to the parking lot, and still at that time the valet people had no idea what was going on. So he ran with the jewelry case back into they hopped in a big old SUV with the, I think it was like the Trackhawk SUV. They hopped in that and skirted off, man, with all of Boosie's watches and chains and everything. They got it back for Duke. And so basically what you got to understand is that everything that was in that Louis bag, they ended up getting back. And so the main thing is that what you got to understand is that everybody's always going to try to get something back. Like, if you ever lose something, someone's going to try to get it back, or they're going to try to even it up, and it's like chain for chain or whatever like that, man. And so they're still out there. The chains are still out there, like some of them. And basically they knew that it had to be getting back. Like, they know that these chains are going to move around. Like, maybe Boosie was wearing one. The piece that the guy was going to give to Boosie anyways, that's going to end up to Boosie somehow, or one way or another. Like, the guys who took it ended up selling the Boosie chain back to Boosie, and that's how he ended up getting his. And then they try to come back and literally take it in the whole back of the concert, the next concert that Boosie went to. That's why all his shows been canceling, and they canceled half of this concert too, because everything happened like halfway through. And so that's why everybody's like, they don't want to have no Boosie concerts, because they think that something's gonna happen with the chains, or it's going to be some type of revenge or retaliation for Duke on 3. You got to understand, that's real life. Like, stuff like that happens all the time. Man, people don't know, like, the things that happen in everyday, like, that doesn't get talked about or don't make the news. There's people out here who real life getting, like, things taken every day and stuff, and they're trying to get it back. Like, dudes be getting their bike taken, and they got to run and get it back and find the guy. And that's the same thing that's happening with Duke's chains, and that's the same thing that's happening with Boosie's chains. And still people want to know, what did the security guards do? Why did they not let Duke in? And why didn't Duke go home when he was told he couldn't get into the parking lot? So that's why it could be anybody that's inside the entourage, inside the backstage. Just like the dice game Boosie was at, it could have been anybody there. And that's why it ended up being the people that was around Duke and the ones that seen him at the dice game with all the money, the $600K in cash, the diamonds, the $1 million of jewelry and everything like that. So it was the people that were like backstage, it's the people that's in the entourage, the people at the dice game. It's all these extra people around these celebrities, around these rappers, who be really the ones causing all the problems. Like, one thing you got to understand is that if Duke wasn't around or Boosie didn't have all them extra people in his like circle like that, then those guys that were the wolves would have never got to Duke, man. You got to understand, people are surrounded by wolves, and the wolves are always ready to strike, man. So if you're a big dog out there, you got to watch out for them wolves, you know, because the wolves be trying to come and take down their own and everything like that. So that's why you see the people that was trying to take down Duke and everything was the same ones who was at the dice, like they was watching him the whole time. And so that's why they just used the entourage to their advantage and went back to try to get Boosie's chains. They slipped in just like how the people slipped into the dice game, and the ones that slipped in at the concert after Duke and everything like that. So that all made it to where basically they were trying to even it up and at least get the $1 million back. That's why Boosie had to pay $1 million like right after the whole thing. It's no coincidence that Boosie says he needs to come up with $1 million, and the next thing you know, a dude with $1 million gets hit while he's with it and everything like that. So just due to the fact with all that and everybody being connected, the cousin and all the people that were surrounded, is really just the reason why it all happened, and the reason why everything is happening now. And so if you just you got to pay attention to the big picture. Y'all got to connect the dots and just see the fact that it's really a whole thing that's like opening up and everybody's figuring it out. So this whole thing, like what's being done in the dark, is going to be brought to light, because the whole situation around Boosie is rubbing a lot of people the wrong way. And so a lot of people are looking at it like, damn, they disappointed in Boosie. They thought they believed Boosie at first, and then now they don't. And it's like everybody coming out with the big news and everything that's going on is not making them look good. And so that's why they shut the whole concert down and everybody had to leave, because they try to really
you know, get everything back from Boosie.